Right. All right, this is the corner of 138th Avenue and Beeline Road. So we're looking northbound. That's going to take you to Holland. I'm not going to go that far. I'm just kind of turning around from here, but I want to ride from this point back to Douglas, Michigan. Show off some good and bad bike facilities, some missing gaps, and some other things. So we'll start from here, take a ride. So first thing you'll notice is there is a bike path, and there is a road, and there is no curb and gutter. You could build these without the need for curb and gutter. That's going to be pretty consistent along this corridor. In some cases that works out. I think in other cases it maybe doesn't work out. But I'm glad it's here. I would rather this be here than not be here, as the city and property owners squabble about assessments for curb and gutter and things like that. So we're heading south on 64th Street. And again, we got a little bit more separation from the road, which is nice to see. We got a bridge, our own bridge. We're not just being pinched onto a wide shoulder. So this is really, really great. And then for more ex-urban or rural communities, the idea that you can't have bike paths alongside your roads. Here we have a case where that we have one. In some cases, it slopes away from the bike path onto the street. In other cases, up further ahead, you're going to see where there's a little ditch in between. But I just really want to point out that these can exist on township roads, on town roads. They're not limited to a certain type of other infrastructure that needs to be there. You saw at the beginning of the video someone passing us with a kid in a bike trailer. For those not aware of it, or really not in the mindset of who rides on what bike facilities, this is what we call an all ages, all abilities bike facility. That means you'd let your 7-year-old ride their bike here. You would feel comfortable taking, your kids in a trailer here. Now imagine this doesn't exist and you have to ride on the road where, you get a 3 or 4 foot hard shoulder. You're probably not letting your 7-year-old ride on that. You're probably not taking your kid for a ride on it. The only people riding on that are going to be the confident riders, the people in Lycra training for races or just getting out for a good exercise. So in this cross section, they still have that facility on the road if they choose to use it, or you have this facility. So this is a all ages and all abilities roadway. Now here, we can go up to the signal. I think I would prefer not to. I'm going to cross early. There's a path before you get to the intersection. Now we're on Blue Star Highway in Douglas, or excuse me, in Saugatuck. And we're heading into town. We're not going to go through Saugatuck. We're going to stick on this highway until we get to Douglas. Again, we have a rural cross section, no curb and gutter, and a bike path, so it works. We're going to come up across some driveway crossings that I think are going to be kind of the first example of not so great infrastructure, but it doesn't take much to correct that and tidy it up. So this being the first one, not this bridge, obviously that's good. This driveway with the ice cream shop here in the campground. It's just one big open spot, so drivers can just whip off the road whenever they feel like it. There really should be two distinctive driveways with some kind of hard curb in between. And that helps not just with biking and walking and feeling comfortable, but as you're driving, you know, instead of having one clear point of access, you just kind of get this blob of, well, one person could pull out in front of me, or everybody could pull out in front of me at the same time. This is kind of another example where the driveway is not really well defined. It's just kind of one giant area. This intersection could use a little tidying up, a little bit more definition, square up the approaches. These gravel driveways too, minor criticism, but could just pave between the path and the road. And again, we have this big long parking lot without like a defined access point. Just creates one giant conflict zone. And I think some of that's due to, I think usually you see buildings either get built close to the street with the parking in the back, or you see buildings set back further with the parking in the front. Some of those buildings are kind of an in-between where they have the parking in the front, but it's clearly designed assuming that drivers would be able to pull off the main road and just swing into a parking cell without first navigating a parking lot. So here we are in Saugatuck, and this is going to be kind of a I don't know how you'd put it. I don't want to go this way. I want to go to Douglas. So my choices are either I don't get to do what I want to do, or as you see here, let me turn around. We have a desire line. This is, looks like other people had the same thought. I would like to cross the street. I don't have a way to cross the street. So people make up their own ways, and that's what happens when you don't provide facilities. And you don't provide facilities with the idea that, well, people might want to turn. It's not just a recreational ride where I follow the path, get to the end, do a U-turn, and come back. I'm actually getting places. I want to go to that chiropractic. I want to go to the gas station. But this criticism aside, I love the greenery on both sides. Creates a canopy, creates shade. Really pleasant path, but I gotta go this way, so this is what I gotta do. It's a bike route. I'm not going out there. I'm gonna cut through here. So that's our first major disconnect of facilities, and again, we have no access point. We just have an access blob. Just has that feel of drive down the road, just kind of whip it over on the shoulder and get out of your car. And you know, that doesn't really work when things get busy. It's just not good access control. So here, without a path, we have a wide shoulder, which is wider than the last street we were on, but this is a lot less comfortable than the path. One thing I've seen kind of used as a metric for rider comfort is how many people are out biking without a helmet on. If you see people kind of in a more upright, comfortable position, biking without a helmet, that's usually because the facilities are good and they feel comfortable. They don't have to worry about cars, drivers hitting them. Now we get back onto the off-street path. We have some, it looks like a restaurant there. Now they have off-street parking. I mean, unless it was busy when these people pulled up, they're choosing to park on a 50-mile-an-hour road without sidewalks. Kind of, you start asking the question, is this a highway or is this a street? Are you trying to get people from point A to point B fast, quickly, with limited conflicts, so that it's safer? Or is this a street where you have people living off of it, businesses, you're trying to, as Strong Towns would put it, you're trying to generate wealth and prosperity. And anytime you're in the middle of that, anytime you're both posting it at 50 miles an hour and it's a highway, but also kind of allowing businesses and a lot of access points, you just get a lot of conflicts. People turning on and off, that slows down the highway, that's dangerous. It just doesn't work in either case. It's that, again, in the words of Strong Towns, it's the futon of street design. It's neither a comfortable couch or bed. So I have the bike route ending. We turn right, we go into Saugatuck. We have what looks like maybe the future extension. I certainly hope so. So I gotta go this way. Now, because all these facilities that we've been on so far, or at least for the last while, have been on the right-hand side of the road, we are going westbound, which is actually going to be a little bit better. I didn't have to cross the street. If you were heading eastbound, when I biked out to where the video started, I had to cross the street 6 times. So on 3 separate occasions, I had to cross the street. One of them being here and the next one being right up on the other side of the bridge. So you're crossing the street, so a couple hundred feet later you've got to cross the street again. Excuse me, that was when I went into Saugatuck. I crossed back at the last stop sign. But again, that's like a quarter of a mile. Potentially quick fix to that, you don't need a center turn lane on a bridge. I don't think we want to encourage people driving off the bridge. We could shift this lane over and widen this into a 2-way bike facility until you get to the road heading down to Saugatuck. So up ahead is the 2-way bike facility. Instead of having people cross, you can just continue on this side of the bridge. Here we have a different type of protected bike lane. This one also a physically protected bike lane. We have a little curb. Up here we have some plants. This is, I think this is a really good design. There could be other designs. As the old facilities to the right here, there's just a wide sidewalk right behind the curb with utility poles in the way, narrowing down that width. So with a future reconstruction, you could kind of rethink the width from that curb face to the back of this crosswalk, which is probably, I don't know, 25-30 feet. You could do a lot of different things with that. Do a sidewalk with a 10-foot wide two-way bike facility and 10 to 15 foot wide terrace, which you could plant trees in. Where they're physically separated from the road, but they were just painted on from the parking lot. And you can see the remnants of the old center line. But still a huge improvement over biking on the street. Again, you would feel comfortable with your family, with your kids out here biking, where you likely wouldn't if you were biking on the street. turning down Wiley Road. And again, we have a separated bike facility. There's not much separating it, but this does feel different than riding on the street. This feels different than had you just added on-street bike lanes. And it also satisfies the desire for a sidewalk. Again, no curb and gutter. I have been out here after, like in the spring before, thinking to see a bunch of slush and ice over the path. I'm sure maybe that happens, but the times I've been out here, I haven't seen it. I haven't ridden on it in the winter, but just kind of by glancing over, I didn't see anything too bad.